Hi y'all, Beats Motel here, back with another video. I was sitting there thinking, enjoying my Saturday night. Obviously, tomorrow is New Year's Eve. My Oregon State Beavers, unfortunately, we lost yesterday to Notre Dame. So I was kind of sitting here in pity, kind of swallowing over the game. And I thought, you know what? Let's make a video about some trilogies series that I want to read in the year 2024. I know I'm kind of setting the bar a little high, but that's kind of the goal, if you will, is to set the bar high and try to reach it. I'm going to be really serious about this reading coming up this year. I've told my wife. She thinks I'm a little crazy for how many books I want to try to read. But yeah, let's get it started off. So we'll start off with a trilogy that I'm actually going to start the first book next month in January. I might start a little early. I'll do an update tomorrow, a weekly update. I'm almost finished with the book that I was trying to finish before the start of the year, and I don't want to start Malazan until the beginning of the year, the first day. So I might start a little early with this first book in this series, but I am talking about the Hannibal Lecter series. Let me kind of that is Red Dragon, The Silence of the Lambs, and Hannibal. There is Hannibal Rising, which is like a prequel. I don't anticipate to read that this year coming up. Kind of a background on this. I love The Silence of the Lambs. I love that movie. That is one of my favorite movies. I actually have quite a few favorite movies, but that is one of them. And I was watching it the other day on HBO Max. I thought, you know what? I want to read that series. I've had the trilogy in my collection for about a year, and I haven't started. So I figured 2024 would be a good year to try to do it. Kind of horror, kind of thriller, I guess is the best way to put it. So obviously you have Red Dragon. This book is, if you don't know, this book is about Will Graham. I believe his name is. Let me double check. I think that's what it is. Yeah, Will Graham, I believe is his name. If I'm wrong, correct me in the comments. Essentially, he is tasked to track down this serial killer, and that's where we get introduced to Hannibal Lecter, Hannibal the Cannibal, if you will. I remember the movie. I don't remember liking the movie as much. I think the guy that played Voldemort in Harry Potter is the bad guy in the movie. Excuse me. But yeah, I'm looking forward to reading that. The next one is the one I am definitely anticipating the most. I do apologize if the camera shakes a little bit. I've kind of changed up the setup for my office, if you will. But the next book is The Silence of the Lambs. This is essentially, you have Clarice Starling is tasked with trying to interview Hannibal Lecter and get some information to get him to help track down Buffalo Bill or Buffalo Bob. If you've seen Joe Dirt, if you haven't seen it, go watch it. You won't see that this movie the same, or the movie the same, or read the book the same, I would assume. But essentially, this is where we get delve way more into Hannibal Lecter. I have heard that Anthony Hopkins kind of made Hannibal more better, I guess, if you will, kind of, the famous lines and all that he improvised. So I'm very much looking forward to reading this. I'm hoping if Red Dragon goes really well, I might just jump onto this next. And then the last one for this trilogy is Hannibal. This is the biggest of the two. I remember I've seen this movie once, I believe, when I was a kid. I did not like it as much as The Silence of the Lambs or Red Dragon. But I'm going to definitely try to read this. I think this will be a nice crescendo trilogy to kind of get me started. Like I said, definitely looking forward to reading these. Gonna set these here aside. The next one is kind of a cheat series, and what I mean by that is you could say it's 2 books, you can say it's 1 book, you can say it's 4 books, however you want to say. And I am talking about the Hobbit and the Lord of the Rings by J.R.R. Tolkien. My wife was kind enough to buy me this set as well as the History of Middle Earth set, just because they match. I love how they match for the most part. The Lord of the Rings is one of my favorite movies. Those are some of my favorite movies of all time. Those are easily in my top 10, top 5 favorite movies of all time, and books as well. I love The Lord of the Rings. These are definitely ones, if you have not read them, I definitely recommend them. I haven't read these in 3 or 4 years, give or take. That was definitely the last time I read it was before I moved out here to West Texas, when I was over there in Dallas, Fort Worth area. Um, I love these. If you don't know, The Hobbit is about Bilbo Baggins, who is a hobbit who goes along with some dwarfs to the Lonely Mountain to reclaim it from Smaug the dragon, and that kind of sets off the trilogy, or a single book, if you will, as J.R.R. Tolkien anticipated it to be. Side note, if you didn't know, he anticipated Lord of the Rings to be one book, but due to the war and whatnot, they were like, you know what, this book's too long. We'll split it in 3 books and see how the first one does. And obviously, the rest is history. The Fellowship follows up with Frodo getting a ring, the One Ring from Bilbo, and then it goes about his journey with Sam, Pippin, Gandalf, all of them, Aragorn, Gimli, Legolas, Merry, Pippin. Obviously, I've said Pippin before. I love these books. I know that's kind of a cheat. I know I said I wasn't really going to read any fantasy because I'm reading Malazan, but I love these, and I feel like I can keep these straight. I did anticipate to try to read the history of Middle Earth, but just with me reading Malazan, I don't think I'm going to. So I'm gonna cheat and do read that series. I'm just gonna kind of stack them along here on my shelf. The next trilogy I want to try to read, I had the first book on my Kindle. I don't have the second and third, but I need to, is the Wayward Pine trilogy by Blake Crouch. I'm definitely anticipating on reading the first book at the very least. I'm sure I'm going to like it, and I will buy the second and third one. But that is one. I don't know a whole lot about it. I know this gentleman, I don't know if he's a detective, what he is. He goes to this town, can't get any communication out, and it just, all this crazy stuff happens. That's about as much as I know. I try not to spoil myself too much on a lot of these books. You're going to notice that I don't know a whole lot about them. And then the last one is one that I don't really know anything about. I just know something about the quest for the Holy Grail, and that is the Grail Quest trilogy by Bernard Cornwell. That is Vagabond, Heretic, and Harlequin. You may ask, how do I not know anything about this series, but anticipate to try to read this series. If I'm being honest, I went to my local Second and Charles here in town, and they had these priced at a great price. I mean, it was less than $11-12 for this trilogy, and they are, I mean, except for a couple blemishes, this is brand new books, in my opinion. These are brand new, straight off the shelf. I mean, you would find this condition at a Barnes & Nobles or local new bookstore, if you will. I don't know a whole, like I said, I don't really know anything about these. I just saw it was Bernard Cornwell, saw that it was the trilogy complete, saw they were in great condition. I kind of read the back a little bit, but I didn't really pay too much attention to what that trilogy was about. So that'll be a nice blind read, if you will, trying to get into that. Again, those are the trilogy series that I want to try to fit in 2024. Obviously, I'm still trying to read Malazan and my Stephen King books, but I feel like some of these, especially like the Lord of the Rings, I will fly through them like that. But again, I'm going to try to read Lord of the Rings, The Hobbit, Lord of the Rings, the Hannibal trilogy, the Wayward Pine trilogies, and the Grail Quest by Bernard Cornwell. Again, I am very much looking forward to reading these 2 trilogies, especially. I actually have Red Dragon on my TBR for January. I added that in. That was my 4th optional book. I threw it in there. I'm going to start this. Again, kind of for the thumbnail. Cannot wait to get into these. Hope y'all have a great New Year's. I'm going to do an update tomorrow, a weekly update, if you will. So come check that video out. Again, thank you for watching my videos and subscribing if you haven't subscribed. Definitely going to try to keep this channel more updated as the year begins and goes along. Please join me in my journey as I read Malazan. And again, these are the trilogy series that I want to try to fit in the year 2024. Y'all have a good one.